Hello, I'm Laura Colgary, a volunteer in Colonial Williamsburg. And today we are going to be making a wreath in the Colonial Williamsburg style. The first thing you're going to do with your fresh wreath is give it a good shake, fluff it out a bit, and then you're going to look at it and decide where the best top is going to be for your wreath. Today we're doing a symmetrical design, so we really want to know where the top center is and the bottom. Different gauge wire. This is a heavier gauge wire. This is about a 16 gauge. The lower the number, the heavier the wire. And I'm going to use this to make my hanger in the wreath. I made a hairpin shape, and I'm going to press this down into the wreath, and you will feel when it catches. I've got it deep in my wreath. You can see it coming out right here. You're going to take those two ends and twist them, and then take that twisted wire and press it back up into the back of your wreath. And now I have a hanger. We're going to start with the pomegranate in the middle. My pine cones are going to come later. Here is the pomegranate. I'm going to get one of my medium to heavy wires because this is a heavier fruit and we want to really secure it on the wreath. And I'm going to pierce the pomegranate all the way through with one, and I'm going to take a second wire and pierce it all the way through. So now I have two wires in my pomegranate. I'm going to press these down so it's a hairpin, and now comes the tricky part. I'm going to lift my wreath a bit. I'm going to find that marker that I had for the center bottom right here, and I can actually remove that and just note the spot. I'm going to lift my wreath a little bit, and now the work to press it in. So I'm going to get all four of these wires, and they're showing up on the bottom of my wreath. And I'm going to twist those together. So sometimes if that wire is a little long, I have a couple of tools here. I have a needle nose plier. I have a wire cutter. It's one of my favorite tools. I'm going to snip this wire off because we want to be careful that we're not leaving pointy things on the back of the wreath. This is going to go on your door or your house. And then I'm going to fold that wire. I'm going to tuck that wire right into the back of the wreath. The next piece that we're going to put on are the magnolia leaves. I'm going to show you how to pick the magnolia leaf so that we can get it into the wreath. When you trim it from the stem, it has a little short stem exposed. We want you to cut up, make a little triangle cut so that you have a longer stem here. With that longer stem, you're going to take one of your picks that you've gotten from a local craft store. You line the pick up with the stem. The stem is going to come about an inch down or an inch and a half down the pick. There's this little copper wire that you are going to wrap around the stem and the pick. And so I have it secured now on the pick. The next piece of picking, this practice is called picking. You can pick all kinds of things. The next piece is to use floral tape. I've torn off a small piece. The stickiness is activated as you're stretching it. So now we have what we'd call a picked leaf, a picked magnolia leaf. So if you remember from our design in the beginning, we're keeping it symmetrical. So we're going to have 3 leaves on either side. So just like when we were placing the wires in, we want to feel it grip in there, and that's what we're going to do with the pick. We're going to slide it in and feel it grip in there. There's our 3. Now, as best we can, we're going to match the other side. So we have our magnolia leaves placed. The next piece that we want to do is to lay out our pine cones. So we're going to have 3 pine cones on either side. I've placed them so I get an idea of where I need them, where I'd like them to be. I'm going to show you how we wire a pine cone on, and we're going to do them one at a time. You're going to twist it around, trying to hide your wire down in the lowest pieces of the pine cone. You're going to twist it around once and then twice. And again, you're seeing these two wires come out the back, just like in the pomegranate. Just like we have in the past, we're going to take the wires and force them down into the wreath, looking for them on the back side. I'm going to turn the wreath so you can see where they're coming through. So there I have the two ends of my wire. We're going to twist and then, of course, clip off those ends. And force that twisted portion right back in. So we have one pine cone attached. We'll attach the other three in the same fashion, paying attention to their placement, paying attention to how they curve so that we get that look. We added a pine cone and then we added the other pine cone. So all of the pine cones have been wired in now. I'm going to talk to you about these pine cones in just a moment. You'll also notice that we've added in two of the lemons from the original design. I'm going to show you how to wire those lemons in just a moment. I'm going to lay the wreath down here for a second so I can show you how to do these top two pine cones quickly. When you want to wire two pine cones together, you start by wiring the first, and on your long wire, you're going to take that and wrap it around that second pine cone in the same way, and then twist that wire together just a couple of times. Then you can really form your pine cones into that shape that you'd like. If you see, I'm going to lift the wreath up and show you how we have that shape. So you follow that same pattern of taking these longer wires and poking it into the wreath, securing it in the back. So the next item that we're going to add are the lemons. Well, two of them have already been added, keeping our symmetrical design, one lemon on each side. The way that you're going to wire the lemon, similar to the pomegranate, but it's a smaller piece of fruit, so we're only going to need one wire through it. You're going to decide which part you want showing. We're going to show this part up. So I'm going to take the wire and in about the bottom third of the lemon, press the wire through, and there it comes out the other side. That same strategy of forcing the wire down for that shape. And then this lemon is going up at the top. And you see we're working in threes again. This is our third lemon. Taking those wires and I'm forcing them to the back, trying to catch through as many branches as I can. The resistance is a good thing. So I'm grasping those wires behind, pulling them tight. You see the two wires there, and then I'm going to twist them. Once again, I'm going to nip those edges of the wire off and take that twisted portion and press it back into my wreath. I don't want anything poking out that's going to scratch my door or my wall. Now I'm going to look back at this, and I have a little wiggle room to adjust it so that my lemon is up above those two pine cones. So the next piece that we're going to add are berries. Holly berries are great. They have great color. They stand up pretty well in all kinds of weather. So this is a branch that was pruned off for us to use. If you're using the holly berries, you don't want to leave those leaves on. They'll turn black and not look attractive in your wreath. So you'll trim the leaves off, get it to a length that is what you need. So then I'm going to line the pickup with the stem, take that little copper wire and twist it around the two, the stem and the pick. The next piece, if you recall, is the floral tape. I'm going to get a little length of floral tape. So we are picking our berries. I have the floral tape that now I'm going to twist around the copper wire, and then I'm going to secure it right below the stem, covering all of that up. And now I have this ready to put in my wreath. So when we're placing the berries, I've already picked some other berries, and I'm going to lay them out for you. And you'll see there are some different ones. So I have 2 longer berries. I have 2 medium and 2 small. The 2 longer berries in our design are going to go down near the magnolia leaves. So I'm going to, again, slide that pick in, hoping to feel it catch in some of the heavier branches. There we go. Get my other long one on the other side. These other 2 picks are going down in the pine cones. Again, I'm going to press them in, looking for a good catch. So this last bunch is going to go in at the top. There we go. Well done. We have completed our wreath. We have our pomegranate. We've done a symmetrical design, remember? So we have our pomegranate, magnolia leaves on either side. We have pine cones and the lemons. Remember, we did it in thinking of odd numbers. We did it in 3s. We did it in 5s for the berries. Gives it that balanced look. And we kept our symmetry. So lots of times when we make fresh wreaths, we wonder, how long is it going to last? Different conditions affect the length of time your fresh wreath is going to last. Depends on where you're hanging it. If you're hanging it on a covered porch, it might last a little longer than in a very sunny spot. To help it last a little longer, you can spritz it with water, but you legitimately might have to change out the fruit. Citrus are a little more delicate in temperature changes. Your pomegranate is going to last a good long time, several weeks hopefully. Apples, again, depending on the conditions, they'll last a few weeks. But if you're hanging it up right after Thanksgiving and leaving it up until after Christmas, you're likely going to have to change out some of the fruit, just like we do in the historic area. The wreaths are checked daily and things are swapped out as necessary. But enjoy your fresh fruit wreath on your front door or on your railing. Thanks for making this wreath with us today. I hope that you have the opportunity to come to the historic area in Colonial Williamsburg and see it decorated during the holiday season. It's a very special place. Thank you for joining us.